Hello everyone. So today we will be talking about the chromosomal theory of inheritance. The chromosomal theory of inheritance, why it placed in your syllabus to understand how the genes split at the time of gamete production or at the time of the cell division. So we will see all the things one by one. Before starting that, I would like to tell you the history of Mendel, how the Gregor Johann Mendel he publicized or he published his work, and what are the reasons his work was not recognized. So these are the things we'll talk about in this concept. First, our concept is chromosomal theory of inheritance. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. In 1856, Gregor Johann Mendel he started his discovery. On what he started his discovery? On which organism he chosen for his discovery? That was nothing but pea plant or Pisum sativum. Okay, so pea plant. As you know, in the introduction class itself, I mentioned few of the things related to Gregor Johann Mendel, but his let me write that one. Gregor Mendel in 1856. Gregor Johann Mendel in 1856 he started his discovery in this year. On what plant he chosen for his discovery? The plant was pea plant. He found out 7 contrasting characters in that plant, right? So till his death or after 16 years, his discovery was not recognized. After 16 years, like in the year of 1900, 3 scientists individually, who were they? They were Hugo D. Vries, Correns and Sherman. They restarted his discovery. Whose discovery? Mendel's discovery. Why they restarted his discovery? Because his concept was not recognized. Why the people didn't accept his theory? Why his establishment or why his research work was not accepted? What was the drawbacks of his theory? We'll find out some of the reasons of his discovery. So what are the reasons behind it, behind the failure of that discovery? So we'll write that. The first thing is the work was not publicized properly. Whatever he did, it was not properly publicized. Nowadays, what we used to do, if we are launching some product, something else, what we used to do, we select the media, like the visual media, the print media, the audio media. So these are all the channels. It works properly to reach the people. So these are the media what we are choosing nowadays to public anything. But on his period, the instrument to public the products was not good. Okay, so that is one drawback, that is one thing. it was not published, the people didn't get what he is telling, the people didn't reach their theory. So that was the one failure or one reason for his his work. And second reason is he called the genes as factors. Right? What the genes are doing here, or what the factors did? The factors express the characters. Whenever it reaches through the gamete, it gets expressed in the organism. Where it will be? It will be in the home chromosomes itself. Okay, so I'll come to that later. So genes, he called genes as, in his period he didn't call the genes, he called genes as factors. So Mendel period, the factor called as the discrete units which did not blend with one another. It expresses its character in the organism. Alright, so that theory was not acceptable. It was not acceptable at all. People or the co-workers did not accept that theory. The factors, it is expressing its character. That concept was not accepted by his co-worker or by the biologist, whatever there in his period. So the concept was not acceptable. The publication was not good. The concept was not acceptable, and his approach, being a mathematician, Mendel, he was the priest. Moreover, he was a mathematician. He used to teach the maths. Being a mathematician, he approached the biological concepts, biological methods or biological reasons or biological theory. He started telling to the people. It was not understandable, or it was not reached to many biologists who were present in his time. So that is also one reason. His approach was not reachable. Okay, so that is also one reason behind it. And one more thing I should tell here, the Mendel, what he did, he didn't give any proof, a physical proof to the factor. Just he told, like, factors are there, it inherits from one generation to another generation. He did not give any physical proof, like how the factors will be, how the shape of the factor, where it will be, how it is expressing, how it is transforming, how it is inheriting from one to one more offspring. Just he told it is expressing, but he didn't show any physical proof. Nowadays what we are calling that as, we are calling this as genes. Yes, we know what we know. Gene is a segment of DNA. So this is the DNA. A part of the DNA is known as, a segment of the DNA is gene. We know now, but in his time, but Mendel, he didn't give any physical proof for factors. So that is also one drawback of Mendel theory. Because of these reasons, his theory was not recognizable. Later, after his death, after 16 years, Hugo de Vries, Correns and Schermark, they restarted his work, and independently, okay, not in a group work, independently they restarted his work, and they successfully told the persons or the society, yes, Mendel, he was telling the truth. The factors or the genes inherit from one generation to other generation, and whatever he told, whatever the laws are there, everything was acceptable after his death. Okay, so one more thing I should tell here, and one more thing I should add here. In that time, the microscopic instruments or the microscopes were not there. Like we used to see the microscope, through the microscope we used to observe the minute or microparticles are there, no. So those instruments was also not there in his period. Now after that, 1902, in the year of 1902, Walter Sutton and Boveri, they started working on the color bodies known as chromosomes. When they researching on the cell division, like they were searching or they were observing the cell division, during that time they found out some colored bodies. What was that? It was nothing but chromosomes. So once we have come out with the chromosome, it will be easier to find out the genes or the factors. The chromosomes at the cell division or at the time of cell division, let me write that one. At the G1 phase, the chromosomes prepare itself for the cell division. How it will be? Chromosomes will be like this. I'm just showing you the diagram, like how the chromosomes, it will get split. Better have understood in the class level while studying the mitosis and meiosis, how the chromosome duplicate, how the chromosome split, and how the chromosome travel to one pole or to the opposite poles. So how the karyokinesis occur, how the cytokinesis occur, you have understand it in a better manner. So I am repeating the same thing, alright, at the G1 phase. So what are these? These are the chromosomes. What they are made of? They are made of the DNA. Where it will be, the DNA will be like, for example, think this is a cell, nucleus and nucleoplasm, nucleolus. Okay, so the nucleus is present. Earlier, the DNA will be like a thin strands. At the time of cell division or at the time of G1 phase, they form or they come to they attain a proper shape. It will be like this. So this was observed by Sutton and Boveri. They found out something is there, some dark structures are there, some exact shape structures are there. So when they start studying that structures, they found out some color bodies. Those color bodies, they named them as the chromosomes. So those chromosomes at the G1 phase will be like that. Next, at the G2 phase, how it will be? It will be, or it comes to the homologous condition. Homologous, it will be like this. They'll form one more, what is that? Sister chromosomes will be present in the chromosome. Okay, so after that, so directly what I am doing here, I am going to the anaphase only to explain you how the chromosome travel to the opposite pole. Okay, think this in the G2 phase, the chromosomes are at the central position itself. Okay, so it will be at the central position. Think this is the cell and this is the nucleus and the chromosomes are scattered here. Alright, so when it reaches to the anaphase stage, how it will be, I'll erase this. So what we are understanding, don't forget, our concept is chromosomal theory of inheritance. Because of the chromosomes, because of the splitting or segregation of chromosomes, the genes they get also segregate. Why in the why it is so? When the chromosomes are going segregate, when the chromosomes are going separate, the genes also going to separate. The genes also going to the game, or it is coming to the gametes. Why so? How it will be? Because here is the answer. Genes are nothing but the segment of DNA. Where the DNAs will be? DNAs will be in the chromosomes. Okay. So, think here in this chromosome, if we are talking about the tall and dwarf genes, think here capital T gene is present at this chromosome, homologous chromosome. Only for one instance we are talking here. So, in this chromosome, the tall gene like capital T is present over here, and in the homologous chromosome, the small t gene is present. It has to segregate now. How it will segregate? It cannot go independently. It is in the chromosome. When the chromosome split, how it will split? At the time of meiosis production. At the time of meiosis production or at the time of gamete formation, the genes, it will segregate. However, the chromosome reaches in the gametes, along with the chromosome, the genes also carried by the chromosome, and this one chromosome, if it is coming to the gamete, the genes will be present in the gamete. When the gamete like a male gamete or a female gamete, when it gets fused with one more gene containing female gamete, when it forms the offsprings, when it produces the offsprings, if it is having the capital T, it will, the gamete offsprings will be height, the offsprings will be, the stem of the offspring will be tall, because it is having a dominant gene in that chromosome. The genes get expressed in the organism. So, where were we? We were in the homologous chromosome. Think, you have to think here, what you have to recall here. You have to recall here, this is the homologous chromosome. At one position, tall gene, like a dominant gene is present. One more in the sister chromatid or one chromosome, the dwarf gene, that small t gene is present. Okay. So, at the time of meiosis 1 anaphase, chromosomes comes to one pole like this. Okay. What we are having now? We are having the capital T and small t here on the chromosome. Likewise, number of genes will be present on the chromosomes, but only for instance we are talking here, only the genes we are talking. So, you can ask me, why you are pointing out the genes on the chromosomes? Why not both the genes are present in the same position? Chances are there. all the genes will be present on the single chromosome itself. We cannot say in which chromosome or what type of genes are present. Okay, we cannot say anything. Only for instance, only to understand you, I am taking one instance here, I am taking one example here. So, after reaching to the one more pole, opposite pole, so this will be the end of the anaphase. What will happen in the anaphase 2? So, here cell divide, the one cell splits and it forms two cell. Okay, and here we are having what we are having? Here we are having two chromosomes. See, I am talking about the meiosis 2, anaphase 2. At the time of now at the end of the anaphase 2, earlier we had two cells and the chromosomes were like this. One sec, let me write the proper diagram so that you can understand better. So these are the chromosomes what we had. Change the structure here also. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. In that chromosome it had capital T and here it had small t. Okay, so we are in the anaphase second stage. It will travel to the opposite pole. This will also travel to the opposite pole. At the end of the telophase 1, we will get 4 haploid chromosomal set of cells. Each will be having the chromosome on the chromosome. What we studied here, we had capital T on this chromosome and small t on this chromosome. So, in one cell, both the genes are present. This cell is going to split. Okay. So, one more chromosome I should draw here. When it gets split, and in the cell, it will be having only dominant gene, and in this cell, so this is the resultant cell. When this cell divides, it forms or it gives rise to two cells. These two cells carries, these two chromosomes will come here and these two chromosomes will come here. Okay. So, write like that. Here also these two chromosomes goes there, these two chromosomes goes there. Okay, only for the instance I am saying how the chromosomes and genes segregate at the time of gamete production or at the time of meiosis cell division. Now, previously we had only one cell. In that cell, both the genes, the heterologous genes were present in the cell, in the only one cell. When this cell undergo division, okay, when it completes the meiotic second division, when it forms the gametes, each gamete will be having the separate genes. This will be this will come to one gene and this will come to one more gene, this will come to only for instance I wrote capital T and small t. So think like a round sheets shape chromosome, or sorry, genes will be on this chromosome. Like that, number of characters will be there, number of genes will be there. Only for example, I had chosen the capital T and small t only to make you understand how the genes split in the being in the chromosome. Likewise, how the chromosomes split at the time of meiosis production. In the same way, genes also split or segregate in the chromosomes itself, in the being in the chromosomes itself. Okay, so that is what in the next class I'll write the comparison of chromosomes and genes. When I start telling all that comparison, you'll come to know in a very good manner. So, till that, if you have any doubts, ask me. Thank you.